The Workers' Party has launched its manifesto for the election, outlining its vision for a fairer, more resilient society. Titled Working for Singapore, the manifesto sets out policy alternatives ranging from cost of living issues, economic competitiveness to electoral reforms. Afifah Ariffin has more.
A total of 125 proposals spread across 5 key areas. The Workers' Party unveiled its manifesto at party headquarters on Thursday during its first press conference since Parliament was dissolved.
What we have today is a refined version, an enhanced version of the manifesto that we had in 2020, where we build upon the proposals that we had raised in 2020, and some of them, you will find them, they're still there. The reason why they're still there is because they're not implemented yet. So we want these proposals to be implemented.
At the heart of the party's platform, tackling rising costs. WP has proposed alternatives to the goods and services tax, while calling for greater affordability in housing and utilities. It also wants stronger support for workers facing job insecurity. Other areas focus on growing the economy, strengthening retirement adequacy, and boosting SME competitiveness. The party also proposes electoral reforms, including lowering the voting age to 18 and reverting to the single-member constituency system. The party also addressed perceptions that some of its proposals mirror those of the ruling party.
We hear the feedback and inputs from our residents, and from there, we can make an assessment about whether or not the current policies have gaps, and if there are gaps, then we'll put forward the policy proposals. And if they happen to align with the PAPs, well, we make no apologies for that. And what you would have discovered is that on quite a number of our policies, for example, our redundancy insurance policy, which we had pushed for many years, you see them being resurfaced by Labour MPs after a while, and somehow it makes it in its way into PAP policy.
The Workers' Party says its manifesto reflects long-standing priorities and hopes this year's refined version will carry more weight with voters.
Let's take a deeper dive into some of the policies that the Workers' Party has put forth in their manifesto. Now, first up, alternatives to the goods and services tax to address cost of living concerns. New suggestions include raising corrective taxes on goods like tobacco or carbon and imposing a net wealth tax of between 0.5% and 2% on the richest 1% in the country. The party had rejected the GST hike to 9% in their previous manifesto. To support the economy and workforce, the Workers' Party calls for a national minimum wage of $1,600 per month. This is up from $1,300 in its 2020 manifesto. The party also wants the same wage to be given to national servicemen to better reflect their contributions. Mental health is a new addition to the party's manifesto. It wants to better regulate the mental health sector, track its outcomes, and ramp up public education. To improve public accountability, the Workers' Party seeks to abolish the office of the mayor. It says many of the mayor's roles have since been channeled to other organizations. It had also previously called for a return to a single-member constituency voting system. Amid rising global tensions, the Workers' Party wants to strengthen ASEAN's credibility. It says this can be done by allowing majority voting on key issues and suspending non-compliant members. The party's head of policy research was asked about policy reversals in the manifesto.
The manifesto is always a living document, and we are not wedded to any of the ideas inside there. As long as we feel that the policies are still relevant to the people on the ground and to our constituents, we will continue to push for that. But once we find that the policies are no longer needed, we are prepared to change it. So we're not wedded to any particular policy.
The Workers' Party also unveiled its first batch of potential candidates for the election during the news conference on Thursday. Party leaders Pritam Singh and Sylvia Lim introduced 4 new faces. They are Eileen Chong, Alia Mata, Abdul Muhaimin and Kenneth Cheong. Mr. Cheong is the only one the party has confirmed to be contesting in Aljunied GRC.
I'm stepping up because I've shared a dream of making Singapore a place where we build that future through real homegrown innovation. And building that future requires both cutting-edge ideas and a workforce that feels secure and valued enough to embrace change.
I know what it feels like to worry about your kids' future, housing loans, daily expenses, and whether you have enough during your retirement. These are the real struggles that the Sengkang residents have shared with me when I was on the ground. That is why I'm stepping up to speak up for them.
I decided to step up because I believe that unity does not equal uniformity. We need rational and constructive alternative voices that can contribute different perspectives in Parliament to build a stronger Singapore.
I am from the sandwich generation. That is to say, I take care of my children and I also take care of my aged father. I am, as a lot of Singaporeans are, concerned about the ever-increasing cost of living, which affects everyone.